Just wanted to give you a quick glimpse here, Heather, of this spot, one of many communities, obviously, throughout the Maritimes, hard hit by Fiona. Take a look at this, a camping trailer that's completely on its side. That length, it's about the side of a school bus, flipped over by the wind, and the waves, too. The waves crashed up onto the ground here. This was a nice grassy lawn. You can see all the rocks on there, washed up from the ocean. We were speaking with John Morrell. He lives here. He was inside his home at the time of the storm. He said something kept banging against the side of his house. Didn't know what it was. It was the ocean. It was waves crashing against the side of his home. And as we continue on over here, John was talking about how he was watching this home just get ripped. Home fared in the storm.
I came and looked out my east door, and I saw this cottage with the back ripped off, and 2 cottages that were going down the beach there were gone.
And what happened with this one with the back ripped off of it?
Well, I think what happened eventually was it took out their big windows in the front, and then you had the water and the sturge and the wind coming right through it and knocking the back out.
And so obviously just an incredible amount of damage here, lots of damage through this entire area. Again, this is along the Northumberland Strait, Prince Edward Island that way, Nova Scotia this way, both provinces hard hit by Fiona. Heather?
Brett, thank you so much. From Marshville, Nova Scotia, we're going to take you to another part of that province now and join Amanda McDougall, who is the mayor of Cape Breton Regional Municipality. She's just outside Sydney, pulled over safely for us to talk to us. Mayor McDougall, thank you for giving us some time this morning. I'm happy to have you on the program.
So pleased to be able to speak to you all this morning.
You know, it is just after 9 o'clock where you are, so you'll be having a good look at this light of this Monday morning. What is the situation you're seeing around you right now?
Well, pretty much the same as yesterday. With progress, though, I was able to go on the Glace Bay Sydney Highway and travel through where some massive trees had previously blocked the highway. So little signs of progress, but I won't lie, a considerable amount of anxiety. We're entering into the 72-hour post-storm phase. The reason I worry about that is we tell residents prior to any storm or weather event, prepare for 72 hours, have enough fuel, food, water on hand to get by. Because typically within 72 hours, we see some sort of normalcy return. That's not the case right now, and things are getting quite worrisome.
So for the people in your municipality who are facing that 72 hours, I mean, what should they be doing? What are you telling them to do with that deadline approaching?
Absolutely. So obviously, whenever possible, keep yourself informed. So CBRM is we're making sure people understand where to go for emergency shelter. Also doing things like sharing what is open. We do know, which is a good thing, several grocery stores have been able to open. Now, one thing that is very, very stressful right now is the fact that power restoration is still undergoing. Obviously, an immense amount of work to be done there. And we're so grateful for all the power crews that have traveled to come here to help us. But the majority of us are surviving on generators. And there are people without generators and simply no power. So fuel is a huge worry. Every time the power is restored to a gas station, the lineups begin. I know upwards to 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 hours waiting for fuel. And sometimes you get to the station and they're empty because the resource has simply been depleted. So fuel is a real worry right now.
We've been showing pictures of a huge lineup at Sydney, as a matter of fact, of exactly what you've been talking about. So power, obviously the priority, as you said, the fuel, roads, some progress. Now, there had been, as I understand it from the weekend, about 70 roads impassable in all of the main roads. So you're suggesting that there's been some clearing, that there is a little bit more ease of driving around today?
Yeah, like I said, yesterday, for me to get from Glace Bay to Sydney took about an extra 20 minutes, and it's going to this morning because crews have been working so diligently to remove blockages. Now, I also heard that the first kind of round of support from Department of National Defence had arrived last night. I assume that we're going to see progress really expedite now. So the mandate for D&D here is obviously power restoration first and foremost. So taking orders from Nova Scotia Power and the companies that are here to really gain access to those problem sites so they can do the work and reconnect lines. I was able to speak with the Prime Minister yesterday and asked him to extend that order and mandate to residential properties as well. We have so many people in our municipality right now that have really precarious and dangerous situations, large trees fallen onto their homes, blocking entrance and exit to their homes. So asking the Prime Minister to extend that order was one of my big pushes yesterday.
And he agreed to that?
So he is pushing that through his minister and the proper departments, but assured me that every effort to expedite and support the Atlantic region is in action right now. And I feel very, very confident that we'll see it happen.
So those are the Canadian Armed Forces personnel arriving to help in that particular function. We know that there's going to be federal relief funding as well available to your region and to the province as well. I'm wondering, one of the things that you had initially talked about over the weekend is maybe using some of those Canadian Armed Forces members to help transport people. Some 200 people had to be moved. They had been displaced by the storm. How are they? Where are they? What is the concern for them today?
Right. We have two centers operating right now. So one is with our community partner, Member 2 First Nation. They opened up the Member 2 Trade and Convention Center and are housing many, many people who have been displaced. The Canadian Coast Guard College as well has been remarkable in welcoming folks who are displaced. So those numbers are rising. And I think it's important to note as well that we do have just over 200 people residing in those shelters. That's not the true number of people who have been displaced by this storm, though. Many people are residing with friends, with neighbors. And so to get a true number is going to take a little bit of time to understand that. But we will see those numbers as disaster financial assistance is going to be commencing through the province, supported by the federal government in the coming days.
Okay. And again, one note, which seems, unless you've heard new information, no injuries, no deaths in your regional municipality. So that right there is something to be thankful for.
Yeah, it is remarkable. And I think that falls on the shoulders of our community. They took heed, they listened to the emergency warnings, and it is truly amazing.
Now, I didn't have a chance to speak to you over the weekend, Mayor McDougall, but as I speak to you today, I am hearing a little bit of optimism in your voice. I don't know if that's true. I mean, obviously the devastation around you is still nearly total, but are you feeling for the people in your communities? Are you feeling a little bit more positive today? Or what's the sort of, how are you approaching this Monday as mayor?
It doesn't feel like a Monday, that's for sure. Yesterday, I got to spend some time at the comfort centers, and I don't know, my heart was full. My heart was full. The amount of gratitude and kindness and just beautiful, beautiful community. It is inspiring, and that's what's keeping me optimistic. The people in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality, the Atlantic Provinces, are remarkable, resilient, and just truly beautiful.
I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you for giving us such time, and we'll be following as you tackle all of these major priorities. We'll be watching this story and telling the stories of the people in your community. Thank you, Mayor McDougall. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care, and everybody stay safe and just keep us in your thoughts.
Okay, we're certainly doing that. People matching donations to Mayor McDougall, which is always nice, and assists, of course, in where the areas where the need is so great. Now,